In this lesson, we'll be taking a look at finding the mean, the median, the mode, the range, and the quartiles of a data set. So first, we'll begin with finding the mode of a data set. So we'll write out the formula for we'll start out by finding the mean of a data set. So first, we'll write out the formula for the mean. Now, the mean has a couple of synonymous terms. You may hear the word average. And in statistics, we use what's called X bar that denotes the mean of a data set. So here's a formula. The mean of a data set is the sum of the terms over the number of terms. Right? So in order to find the mean for this data set, we're simply going to add all our numbers, 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. We're going to divide by the total number of numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we add our numerator, we get 30 divided by 5 for a mean or an average of 6. Next, we'll take a look at finding the median for a data set. Now, before we actually talk about quartiles, the median is quartile 2. Okay, so just keep that in mind when we start to talk about quartiles. Quartile 2 is the median. Now, in this stats course, we will be putting numbers. We have to put them in order from smallest to the largest. And since we have a relatively small data set, we can do that by hand here pretty easily. But if you have a large data set, it may not be so easy to put the numbers in order because there's such thing as human error. All right, so in order to put these things in order, we're going to use some technology. I'm going to use the calculator, the TI-83, and I'm aware that everyone may not have the TI-83. I'm also going to use Excel. Okay, Excel has a pretty good stat package, and Excel is on most computers. All right, so let's put this data set in order. The first thing I'm going to do is put the data set in my calculator as a list. So I'm going to hit Stat. I want to edit a list, so I'm going to hit Enter. Now, if you have numbers that are already in your list and you want to clear those out, you can simply go to every item and hit Clear. But if there's a large data set, we can go to the very top of the list. We can hit Clear and Enter. So now I'm just going to put in our numbers, 500, 350, 850, 500. I'm going to go back in the stat. I want to put that list in ascending order, right, from smallest to largest. So I'm going to sort ascending. All right, sort D is sort descending. I'm going to hit Enter. The list I want to sort is list 1, right, because I entered those things in list 1. Now, if I hit Enter, and if I go back to my list, right, notice that my list is now in ascending order. So we have 350, 500, 500, and 850. Now, here is how you do the exact same thing using Excel. And it's not letting me move my window over. All right, so I'm just going to put those things in here. So we have 350, 500, we have 500, 350, 500, 350, 500, and 850. For whatever reason, it's not letting me move my Excel window over. All right, so I have all my data in. So in order to put it in order, I'm going to go to home. And notice when I go to home, there's a sort and filter. So I'm going to hit sort. Well, first off, I want to highlight my list. And then I'm going to go to sort and filter. And I want to sort this from the smallest to the largest. Okay, so notice we can sort a data set relatively easily by using technology. All right, so we sorted the data set. Now we're going to find the median. In order to find the median is actually the middle number. Since we have an even number of numbers, there is no even number. So we want to take the two middle numbers, right? We're going to add those together, divide by 2, so we get 500. Sometimes the median may be in the data set, sometimes the median may not be in the data set. If you have an odd set of numbers, the middle number is your median or your second quartile. Okay, now we're going to find the range for a set of numbers. So here's the definition for the range. The range is the highest value minus the smallest. Value. Okay, so once again, we have to sort the data set. All right, so I'm going to sort this data set in ascending order. So I'm going to clear out my list here. Hey, from this point forward, I'm going to use a calculator. Hey, but if you don't have the calculator, okay, you can use Excel to sort the data set. Okay, so I'm going to put these things in 2.7, 3.9, 2.6, 2.2, 2.9, 3, 3.8. Right, and now I'm going to go into stat. I'm going to put it in the ascending order. I want to put list 1 in ascending order. Okay, and if I go back, I now have ascending order. All right, so I'm going to write that out. So I have 2.2, 2.6, 2.7, 2.9, 3, 3.8, 3.9. So make sure that's all my numbers here. Right, so we want to find the range. So I'm simply going to take the largest value, which is 3.9, minus the smallest value, which is 2.2, and we have a range of 1.7. Right? So it's simply the highest value minus the smallest value. Now we'll take a look at what are called the quartiles of a data set. And we have 3 quartiles. There's quartile 1, there's quartile 2, which is the median, and then there's quartile 3. All right, here are the formulas for finding the quartiles. In order to find quartile 1, the formula is capital N plus 1. Now, this capital N is just the number of data items. So in this particular example, N would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because we have a total of 7 numbers. Okay, times a fourth. For Q2, that equals to N plus 1 times 2/4, or 1/2. And then we have Q3, which is N plus 1 times 3/4. All right. So here are the formulas for finding the quartiles. Now, just like in anything else, we must put the data set in ascending order. All right, so I'm going to bring up my calculator once again. I'm going to go to the very top of the list. I'm going to hit clear and enter. And we're going to put in the data set 18, 29, 22, 13, 10, 12, 28. All right, I'm going to sort this in ascending order. That again, that's list 1. Right, and we have ascending order. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. 10, 12, 13, 18, 22, 28. Just move that over a little bit. Okay, so we have 12, 13, 18, 22, 28, and 29. And let's see, am I missing a number? Yes, I'm missing 10. Okay, so here are our 7 numbers, right, in order. So now we want to find the first quartile, right? So I'm going to use that formula, right? So Q1, that's equal to n plus 1. So notice I have a total of 7 numbers times a fourth. Right, so if we take 7 plus 1, which is 8, and 8 times a fourth is 2, right? What this 2 actually tells us is our first quartile is actually the second number in that data set. Now, if you were finding the quartiles and you came out with a decimal, let's say 2.3, then you would round up to the next whole number. So if your Q1, let's say, was 2.3, then your first quartile would be 13 instead of 12. Right? But here, since we have a perfectly even number of 2, we're going to take the second number in that data set. And so our first quartile is 2. Now we're going to find Q2, which is the median. So our formula says that Q2, that's equal to capital N plus 1. So keep in mind, capital N is 7 times a half. So 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 times a half is 4. So we're going to find the fourth number in the data set. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our median, or our second quartile, is 18. Right? And now we're going to find Q3. Q3 is equal to capital N plus 1. So again, N is 7. But this time we're going to multiply by 3/4. Right? So 7 plus 1 is 8. Right? 8 times 3 is 24. And 24 divided by 4 is 6. Right? So we want the 6th number in the data set as Q3. So we have 28, and that's Q3. Now, there is something called the interquartile range, or the IQR. And to find that interquartile range, you'll simply subtract Q3 minus Q1. Right, so if we wanted the interquartile range for this set, we would take Q3, which is 28, minus Q1, which is 12, for an interquartile range of 16. Right, so we found quartile 1 was 12, quartile 2, which is the median, is 18, and quartile 3 is 28. All right, so now we'll talk about a box plot. And what a box plot is a physical representation of a data set. We're given the minimum value, right? So that's the point on the very end. We're given the maximum value of the data set as the point on the other end. And then we're given Q1, we're given the median, or Q2, in this case as 85, and then we have Q3. All right, so this is the 5-number summary as represented by the box plot. Thanks for watching.